Wow, am I live? Okay. I'm trying something different today, having just signed up to StreamYard with their mega offer that they had for Black Friday, and streaming live to my YouTube channel, to my Facebook page, and to my group, Strategies for Ambitious Women Entrepreneurs Who Want Financial Freedom. So I'm going to tell you right in advance, I have no idea what the pixelation is going to be like. The weather is dire. It's very, very cold. I still haven't got my fiber optic connection. But you know what? I'm willing to try anything to get out to people. Now, if you want to give any comments, if you've got any questions or anything as we're going through, please remember to give StreamYard permission to show your name and to write your comment. I can't post comments, but I can read everything. At least I'll do my absolute best. So today, this new experiment, very exciting, isn't it, really, what technology can do for you, is I want to talk about 5 myths, 5 money myths that are potentially holding you back from being successful. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was small, you know, if ever we had a birthday or anything, and Granny used to give us like £5 or something, it was either like in a card, and you opened the card very kind of secretly, not sure, you know, nobody wants to see, and then somebody says to you, how much do you get? How much do you get? Or I remember something else my Granny used to do when I was a lot older. If I used to drive her somewhere, oh gosh, she loved to go on cruises and things, or shopping France for the day, all that kind of stuff. And then she'd kind of, you know, flip, you know, pass me some folded up money towards the petrol or whatever. All of these things when we're growing up really contribute to how we feel about money. Now, my granny, she was a cook. She was in service pretty much her entire life. She came from the village where I live now, where she lived in extreme poverty like we can't actually imagine anymore, that the kind of poverty that people of that generation lived in. So there was this mindset about, you know, rich people, they're kind of up there somewhere, and the rest of us are all down here. And you have to be quiet around them. You mustn't talk too loud around them. You know, only rich people live in big houses. And the entire attitude around the family was very much, at least I believe, my sisters might disagree with me, but it was very much, you know, that money is something that other people have. Money is something for a different type of person. We don't have money, kind of thing. We're in the servants' quarters, very much upstairs, downstairs, if that says anything to you. So it's really important to, whenever you're talking about money myths, these money myths I'm going to be talking about today, challenge yourself, ask yourself, where did that belief come from? Where did that myth that I believe come from? Because there is a lot of secrecy around money. I didn't want to talk about money for a long, long time until I went into business myself, and then realized that I had to be able to talk about money if I wanted to stay in business. There is still a lot of kind of fear, potentially shame about talking about it, about having it, about not having it. And I always say to my clients when we start working with each other, when it comes to talking about the money mindset, is, you know, would you be prepared to actually stay poor just so that other people who were poor or potentially in poverty felt better, or you would feel better because you didn't have more money than they did? Or would you, you know, if somebody was stuck at the bottom of a well, I can't remember where I got this example from, it's not mine. If somebody was stuck at the bottom of the well, would you get into the well as well? Would you go and sit in the bottom of the well and be stuck with them? Or, you know, if somebody is ill, if somebody is very sick, would you want to be sick to feel better about them being sick? I mean, you know, when we talk about it in this context, it's complete and utter load of rubbish, the stuff we tell ourselves about money. I also want you to remember that money is actually an inanimate object. You know, it's a piece of paper, or it's a piece of coin, a coin, but we give so much meaning, so much definition, so much personality to money without really thinking about it, because we've just been behaving in a particular way for many, many years. So myth number 1, and I'm going to look over here because I've written it all down. I always do my research before these videos. myth number one that prevents people from, actually going for it is that, the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. And when we hear that kind of a statement, there is a huge sense of guilt. I'm not allowed to be rich because there are poor people in the world. Like I just said a few minutes ago about you, why would you stay poor just to feel better about other people being poor as well? That's absolute rubbish. There is a theory, and there are various theories about the results of this. But if you were to split up all the wealth in the world to approximately the 7.7 billion inhabitants of the planet, there is a calculation that says that we would all approximately be worth around $32,000. But that figure, don't quote me on that, because that varies very much from the research I was doing. Nobody really agrees on that. What the true wealth of everybody on the planet is. But there's also the theory that goes with that to say that even if you did and the same people being poor, because it has so much to do with what's up here. It has to do with education. It has to do with people like my grandmother being born into poverty and then having this kind of, although she bought her own house and like I said, we went on cruises when she was in her 80s, but very much this poverty kind of poor mindset. You've got to save, you've got to scrimp and save all the time, you've got to save for a rainy day, and all those kind of, there will never be enough money, all those kinds of thoughts. If we distributed that money, it would all go back to where it was, because when you have a mindset of being poor, when you have a mindset of there will never be enough, or other things that you associate with money that I'm going to talk about here, then it's going to be very, very difficult. The other thing is that entrepreneurs, people in business, are always going to want to make more money. Sorry, Twinkle's just decided to wake up. And that's just the way it is. So we, talking about sharing it out and all the rest of it might work for a little while, but in the long term, it really isn't very useful. And as I said in the description to this video, wouldn't you rather do your best to make your business a success so that you could leverage your money to be able to help others? Because I know that the majority of women entrepreneurs have very, very big hearts. They want to help other people in any which way they can. And one of the best ways you can do that is to actually make sure that you are a success so that you can potentially support others, maybe even employ others. You may have heard me say that despite this pandemic, despite all the big corporates, I sincerely believe it's going to be the small businesses that really build the economies in the communities again. And as a woman entrepreneur, you have massive opportunities to do exactly that. Okay. Number 2, money is the root of all evil. Now, this comes from the Bible. There are religious connotations here, and I've written down, it's a big passage, but I've just written down this one sentence. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils. But when you actually read it within the passage, that saying, that quote actually is referring to people being greedy, because I want you to remember that money doesn't have a personality. Money is inanimate. It's only what we put onto money as human beings that gives it this power over us. So money is the root of all evil. That comes from actually people being greedy. And there are very few people, I think, in the world who actually love money, the actual, piece of paper or the coins. But most of us love the things that money can give us. Money does a lot of good. Think about when we're talking about religion, money builds churches, schools, social buildings where youth can go and play, all sorts of things. So money potentially is only the root of all evil, and you may disagree with me on this, because what we're actually talking about is greedy. But we've heard it so many times and we speak it so many times, and so people believe it, because what we keep repeating, repetition becomes a belief. What becomes a belief becomes a habit. What becomes a habit then becomes behavior. So some people are money is the root of all evil and don't touch me with money, but on the other hand, they still need money to pay their bills and go and buy their groceries and maybe potentially put some money in the church dish, well, when they can go back to church. And I'm not criticizing, by the way, sorry, this is in no way, shape or form any criticism. I'm just asking, as I said at the beginning, to question where these myths actually come from, and to ask yourself, is this really relevant to me? Is this really who I am? Probably not. So number 3, oh, I love this one. I have to work hard to earn lots of money. Now think about the Dolly Parton song 9 to 5, if you're young enough, old enough, whatever. So this was one of my big money beliefs that I only discovered 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe, when I was still in the early years of my business. I wasn't doing as well as I wanted to, and I wrote my book, Stepping Into You, and you can get it on Amazon. I shall put a link in afterwards. The blueprint to nail your personal brand and market yourself magnificently, because in there I talk a lot about mindset and releasing beliefs. And it took me a long time to realize this, but I was one of these people who believed that I could only ever be successful if somebody else was paying me. And again, this came from my grandfather, who told me that I would never be worth anything. I would never succeed. I'd never get a good job, even if I didn't go to college, if I didn't go to university. Well, I did not go to college, and I only went to university when I was 46. You know what? I'm still alive. It didn't do anything dreadful to me. University was great. Has it actually contributed to my business success? Not with a piece of paper necessarily, not necessarily with a qualification, but yes, in the way that it did challenge me to think about certain management theories, certain marketing theories, certain business theories, and all those types of things. But working hard is something that a lot of us are taught to do, because when we're at school, or when we go to college, when we go to university, it's about knuckling down and learning. And you're not supposed to have fun. We talk about work and play. Think of the Mars bar advert: work, rest, and play. We separate all these things out so that there is no way, Jose, that play can ever be work and work can never be play. We're taught that work is something that we don't necessarily enjoy. Now, when I was starting out in business, actually, when I was doing my coaching diploma, I remember somebody saying to me, follow your passion and your money will follow you. Now, that's not 100% true, but what they were trying to say is, it is actually possible to do what you love and earn money doing it. The issue is, particularly women in my experience, that because you love what you're doing so much, you don't want to charge for it because it doesn't seem like work. So that's something else I do with my clients, is to work with them really hard to help them understand what it is that they're worth, so that they start charging what they're worth, so that they actually stay in business and start attaining those goals that they had dreamed for themselves when they first went into business. So working hard is not the only way for you to earn money. Excuse me. You can have fun earning money, and you don't have to be employed to earn money. One moment. Excuse me. Choked on my tea. So you can actually, as a business, as a woman entrepreneur, you are still being paid by other people, but you're being paid on your terms instead of another business terms. So I have to work hard to earn my money. I have to work 40 hours a week or 60 hours a week or 80 hours a week to earn my money. That's a complete and utter load. That's rubbish. I promise you, that's absolute rubbish. So think about that one. Number 4, others will judge me. I can't be rich because other people around me don't have the same level of wealth that I do. I have to be poor. I have to fit in. This is what it basically comes down to. I don't, other people will judge me. They'll think I'm showing off. They think I'm boasting. They'll think that I think that I'm better than them. There's a lot of fear around all of this belief as well, because it's about not allowing yourself to be who you are. And again, in my book, I talk a lot about the fear of failure. So that's something that most people are familiar with at some level or another. But something just as common that is not spoken about as much is fear of success. And this is something that I also recognized in myself many years after leaving school. I have no idea how I got the O-levels I did when I left school. But in between times, clearly, you know, I am able to learn. I am able to stand on my own 2 feet. There is lots of things that I can do. But when I was at school, because I didn't want to stand out for any particular reason, I made myself very small. I made myself, in particular in the mathematics class, I made myself the person. I sat in the corner at the back of the class. Mathematics and me didn't mix in any way, shape, or form. So this fear of success, this fear of standing out and saying, you know what, I did this. Well done, me, pat on the back. A lot of people, women in particular, do not feel comfortable talking about themselves in that way. And so, like I said, they stay small. Another thing I hear, you know, from if I'm on a discovery call with somebody who I've not met before, and they clearly, if they've come onto a discovery call, they want to take a step forward. They want to do something different. But then there's this fear of judgment that holds them back. Earning more than your partner, your husband, your wife, your spouse, you know, earning more than your parents, not fitting in with this structure, with this family schematic that's somehow been created because nobody's ever talked about what's good, what's not good, what's right for you, as opposed to what other people think you should be doing. So that other, you know, other people will judge me, and that's why I'm not going to be successful. Again, that is a myth. You need to throw that out right now, straight away, gone, finished. Number 5, people with money can't be trusted. Now, this is another big one. And, you know, a lot of us, even though we know that is not true, there is still this very, very deep-rooted belief when we talk about corruption. Now, when I was working in the UN system and I was working in the Balkans, corruption was absolutely rife. The thing is, corruption was only rife. We only knew about it because lots of people talked about it. Corruption as such has been around for a very, very long time. You know, people taking backhanders, we call it bribery, in between times, in the not too distant past. You know, it's only in the past few years where many countries have actually introduced laws to say that you cannot take a bottle of wine from somebody at Christmas, and you cannot accept gifts worth more than whatever. So governments are now doing a lot about that, but there's still this thing about people live in big houses. They must have a lot of money. Oh, they must have done something illegal. There must have been something corrupt about them to do that. And that's something, again, that so many of us believe. I really had to catch myself because I found myself thinking that as well because of things that I had heard. Only rich people live in big houses, like where my grandmother worked as a cook and my grandfather was the chauffeur. And but rich people are never happy. So, you know, associating being rich with being happy, with living in a big house, rubbish, right? Absolute, complete and utter rubbish. And all of these things, all of these 5 myths, even though as I'm talking about them now and I'm kind of laughing about them, I know how significantly a couple of them really prevented me from taking the next step in my business. You know, not having sales conversations because, like I said, I didn't want to seem greedy. Guess what, Gwyneth? If you want to pay the bills, you've got to have sales conversations to ask people for money. So these 5 myths, the rich kept getting richer. Well, you know what? Maybe they do, but what are you going to do about it? Because by distributing wealth more easily or more evenly, if you like, first of all, I imagine that most people will be very unhappy about having to be under that kind of authority. Second of all, we're going to have to do a huge amount to actually educate people who are living in poorer conditions, potentially poverty, about their mindset. There has to be a whole educational thing that goes with it. It's one of the reasons I do what I do now, to work with women entrepreneurs such as yourself, to actually question, you know, where these money myths, where these money limiting beliefs come from. Number 2, money is the root of all evil. There we're talking more about greed. I think you'll agree with me that, you know, when you read the entire text, it really is talking about people who are very greedy, who are not willing to share, who just want to keep taking for themselves. I have to work hard to earn money. Dolly Parton, 9 to 5. No, you don't. You can have fun making money every single day of your life. Others will judge me. They will judge you, but you know what? They will judge you regardless of what you do. So why don't you just do what feels good to you? And number 5, people with money can't be trusted. There's a lot of corruption. And that just reminds me, last week as well, I saw, posts again about wanting to boycott Amazon and other big corporations. And I understand where people are coming from. But as a small business, as a woman entrepreneur, it is up to you to put yourself out there, to make sure people know that you are there so that they can come and buy from you, so that they understand what your offer is, so that they see the value in what it is you have to offer, so that they then choose to come and work with you. And the other thing that many, many people forget, also Richard Branson, he's another person that people sling mud at on a fairly regular basis. These businesses employ thousands and thousands of people, and those people, they also have families, they also have bills to pay, they also contribute to the economy. So if you're thinking about that, people with money can't be trusted and there's lots of corruption and rich keep getting richer and all the rest of it, forget all that. Focus on what you can do as a woman entrepreneur to be completely and utterly fabulous in your business, to share your gift with people who can benefit from what it is you have to offer. Be prepared to receive money for what you are offering, even if it is so much fun. You would do it for absolutely free. That's not helping you. That's not helping the people you work with understand the true value of what it is you have to offer. And that's not helping the economy either. So get sensible about charging what you're worth. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is being streamed live into my Facebook group as well. I have no idea what the quality is going to be like on YouTube. But if you are not yet in my group, I would love to invite you to come and join us. And as soon as I finish here, I am going to put a link with the Facebook group link into the comments. I'd love you to come and join us for training like this and loads of other tips and advice for ambitious women entrepreneurs who want financial freedom. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay fabulous. Loads of love and bye for now.